Uh, how are you, Zach? How is your Saturday and or Wednesday when this goes up?
Doing pretty good.
Doing
I'm
good.
I'm really excited because I'm switching back to like a normal human schedule,
It's
which is
true.
gonna be fucking
Yeah, I hit you up
fantastic.
this morning and I was like, Ohio, and you said Ohio right after. I was like, hell yeah, he's awake. Let's go.
Yeah, I was up at like 8:30 this morning.
Hell yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So then would your job be like 9? Because 9 to 5 you
Yes.
said, right?
9 to 7, so
9 to
10-hour
7.
days.
10-hour days, but shorter or less days, right?
Only 4 days a week.
4
so.
days. That's a bit. I think it's better. Because like you're not gonna, you know what I mean? For me at least, okay, maybe this just depends on how much energy you really have, but for me, if I worked one day, if I work that day, I don't want to do anything before or after that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it works out to have less days. That way I just get more free days. Longer hours, but I'm not going to do anything anyways, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the nice thing about the schedule that I'm going to is that I'm actually going to be able to do stuff when I get off work because I'll be getting off at 7 p.m. So if I want to go to the rock climbing gym or whatever, then that'll actually be attainable as opposed to like getting off at 3 in the morning and then not being able to do anything for the rest of my day.
Right. Yeah, I hate getting off at 3 in the morning. Oh god. I was changing some audio things and I fucked it up a little bit. We're fine. It's all good. They just saw some Discord overlay. It's all good.
Everything is fine.
Everything is
anyways,
fine. Yes, bring us in, Zek.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another weird episode of the Uneducation Station podcast. Of course, my name is Zach, and I'm here with my hostess with the mostest, Arthur.
Hello. How's everybody?
And we're coming to you
because I'm not going to hear that.
we are coming to you. How are you, dear viewer? We're coming at you from the therapy couch and the casting couch.
Yes.
And yeah, honestly, when we were kind of joking around about having really weird camera angles for this episode, this was immediately what I thought of.
That's good. I mean, we both have couches, so it kind of works out. Except I'm not sitting on my couch. I'm sitting on the floor. Which, you know what? I'm going to say it. I find myself, in very certain circumstances, more comfortable just sitting on my floor sometimes.
I feel that,
for
sure.
I think being grounded to the floor is a good time every now and then. Which is why I think about getting beanbag chairs. Like the good old classic beanbag chair, or the good old classic gaming rocking chair, which I know you have. God, it would be so cringe if one day we finally have a good office set up for this and we just use the gaming rocking chairs on the floor. God, that'd be so cringe, but that'd be great.
That would be so great.
But it would be difficult. No, it would be difficult to manage the mic because we'd be rocking too much.
That's fair. Well, I mean, I'm sure that it would probably be similar to this, and like,
so we'd have to hold the mics.
Yeah, but I mean, the nice thing about holding the mic is that you can just like move around.
I can move around, and it's pretty great. I do enjoy the moving aroundness of this, I will say.
Yeah, and I mean, if we end up saying something real out of pocket, the other person can just get up and walk away.
It's true, but I don't ever say anything out of pocket, so it's fine.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, when we're recording.
No, I don't. It's not what I do. I'm a good person. Okay, so I have to stop the music now. So that's going to freeze OBS for me. There we go. And I got to go back to Discord and then OBS. Yeah, this setup is a little temporary, but it's for fun. It's for fun. We can hang out. By the way, Zach, I'm going to ask a quick question. Do you recognize this shirt at all? Does it ring any bells? The shirt I'm wearing.
Oh shit.
Does it remind you of anything, Zach?
I cannot think of it. Like it's on.
Know it. Oh, you know it. You've just started this journey. You know it. Some of my editor friends know this very well. They know this pain. They know this struggle. They know the hardships.
Oh, the media offline. Oh, that's like a that's like an Adobe Premiere type thing.
Yep, it is Adobe Premiere, and I mean, I think technically, just all Adobe things. Yeah, all my editor friends know this very hard and well, and not hard in the
I
good
hate
way.
it.
We all hate it. We all hate it. Don't worry. I
It's
bought the shirt a while
fine.
ago. Yeah, this is a quarter digital shirt. This is the first quarter digital merch I bought. You know, so I'm super pumped. It came in just today, and I was like, oh, I gotta wear this.
That's great.
I gotta wear this. It's good. It's a nice shirt. I don't, you're never gonna catch me wearing such a bright shirt like this. I'm usually more of a muted color type of guy. I mean, Anuki Arthur always has a signature black shirt at all
Yep.
times. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I thought I'd get on the good red and blue because we just watched Spider Man. You're also kind of
Spider-Man.
wearing the red and blue as well. You got the maroon blue.
Oh yeah, fair. I mean, I'm just rocking the Kirkland special right now.
You're rocking
Rocking
the
a shirt.
Kirkland special.
We're rocking a shirt from Costco
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah,
cause.
Spider-Man was great. Oh my god. I don't
Bro, okay.
know. I don't know if this is gonna be the Spider-Man episode. Okay, but okay. So what was it? Across the Spider-Verse, I believe the second movie is. Into the Spider-Verse is the first one. Oh my gosh, it's so good, but for so many right reasons. You never watched the first one, right?
I had
Which is
never seen the
insanity.
first one.
That's insanity. I mean, it's fine that you didn't watch it, but it's like it's one of those things where I don't know how to explain it without sounding like pretentious or rude. No, I'm not bashing on you. It's just a funny thing because Into the Spider-Verse was like such a big phenomenon for all age groups, for all categories of people, casual watchers, avid movie watchers, filmmakers and animators. It was just such a great movie. So it was like it's almost like saying you haven't watched Lion King in a way, you know?
So basically, what you're saying is that you're better than me.
Yeah, I am because you didn't watch
Okay.
Into the Spider-Verse because that shit was awesome.
So
I'm
okay.
surprised. So now you got to watch Into the Spider-Verse afterwards, like kind of like when we watched it with Andy and he hadn't watched it either. So it's gonna be like Star Wars style where you watch the second movie then you watch the first movie for the
Well,
context.
yeah. I mean,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Okay.
I was very confused because I did not have the context of Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
And I didn't even think about it until we were like in probably like 20 minutes in. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on right now.
Yeah,
Um,
you have like a lot you lost a lot of context. But I don't think it's that bad because you'll go and watch the 2018 film and you'll be, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, this is start, you can start to piece the puzzle together." And that's one of my favorite ways to watch things.
yeah. Okay.
At least to
I
me.
know.
Maybe not to you. What is your
So
saucy take, Zach?
no.
I hate
Okay.
Star Wars. Whoa, Zach, chill.
Did you just make me say that in post? No, you're not gonna do that.
Oh, I'm not. I'm
Uh,
not touching this. This is just going straight up.
you're like, there was a black screen for the first 10 seconds. Fucking leaving that shit in.
Yep, that's staying in.
I am not the biggest fan of how it ended.
Really? Oh,
In
wait. So
my
we're gonna go straight to
personal
the
opinion.
ending. Okay, we're gonna go straight to the ending. Spoiler warning. Sure. No, let's
Spoiler!
talk about it. It's funny because
Ah!
I was just talking about it on Twitter, and I was talking with a buddy just briefly because I mentioned I watched it, and then someone else also said they weren't too stoked about the ending. So I'm curious. So why did you not like the ending? For those who
Well,
haven't watched it,
spoiler
watch
warning.
it. Spoiler warning. I already said it already, but yeah, spoiler warning.
Spoiler,
So did
spoiler,
you just not
spoiler.
like that it was a cliffhanger?
I don't like. So, the thing that I'm not super stoked about is the idea that they were building and building and building and building and building, and then it was just like nothing after that. Like
Nothing.
I mean, the payoff of like, oh yeah, he's gonna go back to his okay, we're going in.
No, yeah, no, let's go. We're going into the Spider-Verse, Zach. Let's go. No, I want to
Yeah.
hear this.
So, okay. The idea that like, oh yeah, he's going to go back to his own reality, like
Right.
his own universe. Like I understand the idea of him being like the anomaly and like
Mhm.
him being the reason why everything's all fucky wucky. Like
Right.
I understand that that was like a huge plot point and like that's really important.
Hmm.
Like that in and of itself was great storytelling.
Hmm.
It was just everything after that was just like not.
So you just didn't you genuinely just didn't like the way it ended. Like ended. Not necessarily the ending, just the way it ended.
Yeah, because
Gotcha.
yeah,
Like
because it was.
you
Oh,
did you
go ahead.
didn't not like the ending core, like all the build up and everything. You just didn't like the way that they just cut it off.
Yeah, like the to be continued was kind of like, oh, and then they did like how they did with Guardians, where it was like Star Lord will return, or and
Uh
then it was like Miles Morales will return, and it's like,
yeah.
okay, and
No,
then
that's
and then
fair, yeah.
yeah, I just was not super stoked about the fact that they were putting so much into the fact that it was going to end on a cliffhanger that they just did all the way up until like the very end of the movie. It was just like constant action, constant stuff. But like it almost felt like this movie was just to make it so that the next movie didn't have to be as long.
Sure.
Because like the plot points that they had and like the ideas that they explored didn't really seem necessary. Like if they were
In
trying to
this
tell
movie?
this, yeah, yeah, yeah. If they were trying to tell the same story but with the resolution of the conflict that's happening right now, unless the
Mhm.
next movie has like a bunch of crazy shit that happens
Mhm.
to make the plot more complicated. I don't know. It just didn't seem like this movie had enough substance to make a lot of sense in my opinion.
Right. Uh I would disagree. I would disagree heavily, and let me explain. Let me explain, Zek. So, part of it definitely has to do with the fact that you haven't seen the first movie.
That's fair.
Because, and that's the reason why I'm going to put you on this chokehold, is because you lack a lot of context as to what happened. You have like a general idea, like you have a general idea that his uncle Aaron passed away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a general idea that he got bit by a spider at some point. you know, you have this
Right.
general idea of who Gwen Stacy is in this movie versus other movies. You have a general idea of the spider, the Peter Parker with a kid with a bathrobe. You have that general idea, but you don't understand, because you haven't watched the first movie. You don't understand what those people meant to Morales. Like, you don't understand who the people are that Gwen Stacy rallied at the end, because those were all the people that were in the first movie. You don't understand. Okay, the way the first movie painted Miles Morales was so fascinating, in the sense that we've all kind of seen this. We've all seen this coming of age type story of a kid finding himself in this vast world or whatever. You know, we've all been there. We've all done that. We all have watched that, right? So when you're trying to do a story like this again, when this is not only that type of cliche that already exists already, that we've seen many millions and millions of times at this point, whether it be from anime, movie, TV shows, we've all seen this. We've all seen this coming of age story. But not only that, this is also what the fourth Spider-Man franchise movie-wise, as far as like this whole universe goes. I mean, well, I mean, no, I guess technically because of No Way Home, the Rami, the first Spider-Man and the Sony's Amazing Spider-Man are MCU canon technically now. So yeah, within this universe. Now, okay, before I continue, not a Marvel, not a huge comic buff guy. Before I continue, not
Okay.
I haven't, I haven't, and then you're not either. We
Right.
both
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy the Marvel movies. We both enjoy the MCU for what it's worth as casual superhero fans. I grew up and I like Spider-Man and I watched Dark Knight. That's Marvel, but you know what I mean, Like we've watched these movies and we
That's
enjoy.
DC.
Or sorry, I meant to say DC. I heard a lot of people, but that's how you know. We're not. We're not like that. If you want to talk about something I'm super passionate about, we could talk about that another time. But that's my context going in. Not a huge Marvel guy. Not a huge superhero guy. Not a huge comic book guy. I don't read the comic books. Sorry if that offends people, but I prefer if they speak in weeb language. So, with that being said, going back into that idea of this is basically the fourth kind of Spider-Man movie because we have the Raimi Universe Spider-Man, the original Tobey Maguire, It's Piece of Time Spider-Man. We have the Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, that one. And then we have Tom Holland Spider-Man, Hello Love, that one. And then we have this Spider-Man, Miles Morales, right?
I was gonna say something really funny.
Well, you should have then.
Well,
Zach, you could interject me. I'm. This is a complete debate against you, Zach. You're able to object whenever you want, but I'm going to talk louder than you, so it's never going to happen. But feel free to have the confidence to even fucking try, Zach. So because this is in the fourth movie, we've seen this Spider-Man so many times. We've seen this literally the exact same story already 4 times. In general, this idea of a character who gets superpower, it was kind of a running joke in the beginning of the movie, right? We've all heard this story. I'll be quick, that type of thing. I was bit by a radioactive spider, this and that, Miles Morales kind of plays into that joke idea of, we've all heard this, let me keep it simple, blah, blah, blah. It's that, and with that kind of idea and motif, we've all seen this Spider-Man. We've all seen what's going to happen. We already know what's going to happen, which is a funny motif because the whole point of Across Spider-Verse is that there's canon events that are supposed to happen, right? So we're all expecting to know what's going to happen, but we don't. So, God, I want to briefly explain that. I don't know. Go watch the movie. Okay, so now that you've watched the movie, come back here. So,
I'm glad you watched it.
I'm glad you watched it. I'll give you 5 seconds. Pause the movie or pause this podcast that I appreciate you watching. Like it first and subscribe if you can, and then go back, go to your theater and watch it with your homies or by yourself. Whatever, and then come back and then have that context with you, and then maybe the context of not even watching the first one yourself. So now we come back to a movie that all of us have seen. Hello, welcome back. This is Uneducated Station. I am Zach. This is Arthur. And we are...
The Backyardigans.
Yeah, I knew it. I was waiting for that. See, we're not arguing. We're in sync.
It's a part of the... Oh.
Yeah!
Am I going the right way?
You are going the right way.
Yeah. We finish each other's...
Tuna sandwiches.
Sure.
And we're going rock climbing later. Anyway, so now that everybody knows that we're still friends, you're wrong, Zach. Anyways.
So, okay. Wait.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So, I am not trying to personally attack...
Oh, I'm aware of that.
The Miles Morales storyline in any way.
Okay, then let me ask, did you like the movie?
I liked the movie.
Okay.
But I will say that it seemed like, and this is just coming from a standpoint of like, I've watched a lot of superhero movies, right?
Sure.
And like, I am a big Marvel fan. I'm a big fan of the 3 decent DC movies that have come out in the last 20 years.
Hey, 4 Flash looks pretty good. Whoa!
we can.
You're
talk
hurting
about
more
that.
people.
We can talk about that too.
They're fragile hearts, Zach.
Fuck your feelings. So, I'm looking at it from the perspective of, you're right. We have seen this story before, and there are a lot of things that are different. But there are also a lot of things that seem to not play into the story as much as they probably would have liked.
Sure.
Just for the sheer fact that it seemed like there was a lot of fluff.
Fluff as in what? Yeah.
Fluff as in just things that didn't really have a whole lot of substance to them. Like
things as such, yeah.
like, you know, uh, I'm conflicted because
So
it's a
what did you
cool
think the
movie.
main story? No, what did you think the main story was? What the general motif of the story? Well, not necessarily the lesson, but what do you think was the main story point that's trying to be driven home? Is
So there's the main antagonist, the Spot guy, right?
mm-hmm,
He pops up into Miles Morales's universe and is like,
mm-hmm,
"Hey, what's up, BB?" And then Miles Morales is like, "I'm gonna beat bad guy," and then he doesn't beat bad guy, and then they go, and Gwen is like, "I need to help you beat this bad guy because I met these really cool spider people who do really cool spider things," and then she tells Miles like, "Hey, don't come with me," and then Miles is like, "I bet," and then he goes with her and like sneaks through the like
the
Doctor
portal.
Strange
Yeah, yeah.
portal thing. And then calamity ensues.
Right, right,
And basically we end up finding out that the reason why there's all of these anomalies that are causing a whole bunch of problems is because Miles was bit by a spider that was not from his universe. The
right.
Spot guy brought that spider to Miles Morales. And then he got bit by that spider as opposed to a Peter Parker in a different
Right.
universe.
Correct.
So,
So what? Okay, so you're correct. You're correct that that is the story line as far as from going left to right is. But the incorrect thing is that this isn't necessarily a story about Miles Morales right now. This is also, in my opinion, more so the story in the point of view of Gwen Stacy. Because it starts this movie starts out with Gwen, right? It
mhm,
starts out with Gwen talking about Miles, and Miles goes after her in the portal because he's 15 years old and he's super infatuated by this girl that he loves,
right.
presumably, and he's a naive kid who still doesn't quite get it, because he's
Right.
15, and we think when we're 15 we get the world, but we don't. And
I know
it's
nothing.
I know literally nothing. I not only do I not know my own world, there's no way I'm gonna know other people's worlds. And because this is I view the movie in the point of view of Gwen Stacy. She starts out the movie with kind of her, not necessarily introduction. Well, yeah, her introduction, her backstory, right? How she's the Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Interestingly, what ended up being what was his name? Lizard Bro Man in his universe, whatever it is, I forget. Lizard guy, that guy. Instead
Oh,
of
oh, oh,
I can't remember. I don't know if I remember.
isn't he like
He's the first antagonist in the Amazing Spider-Man.
isn't he Dr. Osborn?
Is he? It's been so long since I've seen the Amazing Spider-Man. But yeah, but that's besides the point. I mean, he turns up to, that introduction. So you get kind of why you understand why Gwen Stacy is the way she is, why she has issues with making friends, trusting friends, being honest with her friends, and you see that when she's not honest with her first band members. And that's kind of a really nice motif to bring because in the beginning she wasn't able to form that band. But in the end, she was able to form the band. She was able to be true to herself. She was able to confess who she was, not only that she's Spider-Man to her dad, but they were able to come together as, father and daughter and understand why we do the things, why we love each other and things like that. That was a whole bottle of emotion. That was one of the most. That was probably the climactic speech for the story, right? Which wasn't
Mm-hmm.
from Miles Morales. That was from Gwen Stacy, and the entire time it's Gwen Stacy trying to make sure that Miles isn't, doesn't know that he's the problem. He's the reason why things are bad. She's trying to cover up all the issues without telling Miles. That's why she doesn't want Miles to be a part of the whole super squad thing. And it's her doing what she thinks she needs to do in order to protect her friend. Because before she wasn't able to protect her friend, which would have been Peter
And then
Parker. And
friend
he
dead.
got fucking smooshed. Yep, exactly. But then she, in her eyes, the entire time watched Miles from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, especially during that whole rocket ship train ride, she, in her eyes, watched Miles break this idea, this stereotype that all Spider-Men have to go through, even as an anomaly, and she watched with her eyes how he grew, which ended up being the pivot point for her to try and grow herself, which was essentially the entire movie. Now, there's one thing I will agree with you. I think this movie definitely could have just been, instead of a 2.5 hour movie, it probably could have been 3 hours and ended with the final fight. That's what I will agree with. I will agree with that 100%. But in the same sense that that movie was so fucking bonkers that I would love to sit down and watch another 2 hours of that, I don't mind it. I was talking with Jackson. As we were reaching the end of the movie, I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be to be continued. I know it. It's too easy. It's gonna be to be continued. It has to be." And I think the way they did it was kind of good because you present a problem for the next movie. You present the problem. You present what could be the solution, and depending on how they decide to do it, I mean, they hit you with that really nice, good twist. That really good twist of finding out that Miles isn't in his universe right now. We know the reason why. Like we were given all the clues beforehand. We're told that the big spider contraption little shit, that little scary thing, takes your DNA and spits you into your universe. We know that. We got told we were told that already by that AI avatar girl, who was AI Spider-Man, which is pretty cool. We knew. Actually, I cheated and I watched the Easter egg video. So shout out New Rockstars. We knew technically that there was something not quite right about the universe that Miles is in, technically, because interestingly enough, if you dig into it and all the little details in his room and outside, you could actually right away figure out that it's not his universe. But us, we don't know that. There's no way. The color scheme, perfect.
Yeah.
That green and red hue, oh, perfect. And both in that chase with Gwen and with Miguel and the other ones, they're all in kind of a similar green space area, so we really think it's the right spot, but it's not. That reveal is so perfect, and Gwen realizes that. I don't know if she found. Well, no, she did. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did find out about that. But all I'm saying is not to rebuttal you in the sense that, I disagree with you to the point of content. But you are really missing that first movie. That first movie gives you so much context as to why he feels that way with Gwen and why it's so cool to see Gwen begin to feel the same way about Miles, because Gwen is like on a different level. If Miles is Tanjiro, Gwen is literally like a Hashira.
Yeah.
It's kind of how that is. So to see Gwen at such a higher level than Miles be inspired by Miles is a really cool idea. And when you if you rethink about the movie in the context of this is Gwen's story, then the next movie is going to be Miles' story, because we're opening with a new Miles that we haven't seen before, and how his universe probably played out because old Miles ruined it.
On accident.
On accident. Which is fair. I think that's very fair. I don't think it's the spot's like, oh, it's your fault, Miles. No. If I get bit by a spider, I can't tell if a spider is gonna bite me. Hey, don't bite me, or I'm going to slap you. Oh, bam. That's natural shit. What are you gonna do? Zach, are you just gonna tell, hey, spider, don't bite me? And spider will be like, okay, I won't bite you. And then you watch it go back to its own universe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to its universe and sets things accordingly. No, Miles is not in the wrong in that sense. This is a different conversation now. But he's not wrong in that sense. He did nothing wrong. He's just a kid who was just doing his own thing in Brooklyn,
I'm walking here.
Do they do that in Brooklyn? I mean, it's still New York, I guess.
Walking here. Yeah.
Am I wrong? Yeah, that's right, right?
Wait.
Brooklyn's not
Geography.
Geography.
Geography is hard.
I mean, it's in New York. Because they're talking about going to New Jersey for
New
university.
Jersey,
New
too
Jersey
far
for too
away.
far away.
Too far away.
But that's what I
Uh,
think. I think that this movie was great, and I think you really need to watch the 2018 version because the way, I mean, oh gosh, I'm not. Oh god, just dropped the SM57 on the laptop. If with this thing, that would have fucking broke my laptop. I'm gonna move that away now. Um,
I mean, you're right though.
I am right. You do need to watch the first movie whenever you can. I don't know when you can. I don't know where it's at, how you can, but it's probably on Disney Plus, I guess. But wherever it's at, definitely give it a watch. It's funny, we didn't even talk about the animation. We're just talking about the story, which is good.
The animation was fucking bonkers, bro.
All right, I'm glad you like the animation.
It was
it's
weird.
no, it is so cool. Everything about the animation is perfect. It's not the reason why it got so much praise, but I mean, you can't not acknowledge how stylistic it is and how really like honed down it is, and it's something you can appreciate. And man, watching this, the first movie was already mind blowing. The first movie was like, it's not a new concept necessarily. Like they're talking essentially, it's a classic 24 FPS, but for animation you animate in twos. So characters, for example, would be in 12 FPS. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that's anime. We've been doing it for years. But the way it's stylized, it's so cool. And even though it was kind of their first attempt at it, it worked so well. And then this movie just perfected it. Like they had a good running start, and this movie they perfected that, and it was so
Bro,
good.
it's so funny because I was so confused in the very, very beginning
Mm-hmm.
just because of how stylized it was.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what is happening right now? And then we got further
Oh
into the
yeah. That
movie and it
intro
was
sequence with Gwen was nuts. That was crazy.
that was wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers. But yeah, I was super confused. And then I got further into the movie and realized how consistent it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. And
Yeah.
I mean, granted, this was my first kind of exposure to the Spider-Verse
Mm-hmm.
movies, which I did not think about.
Right.
You were like, "Hey, do you want to go see the new Spider-Man movie?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I didn't think about it. And if I would have thought about it for longer than like 45 seconds, you're like, "Oh, do you want to go see this movie that you know nothing about?" And I'm like, "Of course I do." I probably would have like gone and watched the first movie for some context, but
No, that's okay. Oh yeah, give it a good yawn.
ah,
We've been setting up for a very long time. No, I agree. Well, whenever you can, definitely watch the first movie. Uh, but I mean, I I will agree that the second movie definitely could have just been another 30 minutes. But I think if they're planning to do another 2.5 hours on the back half, it's got to be good. You know what I mean? Like this has to be good.
yeah.
It has to be good. I don't doubt that it's not going to be good because if it's anything like this movie, I think that as long as it's anything like this movie, then it'll be a great watch. Because I already want to rewatch the movie. You know? I already want to
So
go back and buy another ticket.
so controversial take. Are you ready?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I need you to talk.
So
If you have a theory, Zach, if you have a controversial take, you gotta puff out your chest and tell me it. Tell the people,
okay.
Zach. Go ahead.
So
You know I'm gonna
I
title this video "Zach Hates Spider Verse."
you're a dick. So I think I think that Infinity War
I knew you were gonna say
destroyed
that. Yes.
destroyed my perception of cliffhangers.
Right.
And here's why I say that. Okay.
Sure.
We're getting here. Hang on. We're getting
No,
we're
go
getting
ahead.
some depth of field for this shit.
Oh,
Okay.
give me some depth of field, Zach,
So
because I might give you some
yeah,
back.
I bet. Are you just gonna lay on the ground? So here's where my thought process is. Okay.
All right. Let's
So,
hear your thought process.
so my thought process
My thought.
is that Infinity War was such a perfect way to do a cliffhanger in
Right.
every single fashion of the word,
I agree.
because they were able to make it so that the entire movie was basically leading up to that moment
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, oh, okay, cool. They're going to go beat the bad guys. Like, duh. And then they don't. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, fuck. And then like the way that they ended Infinity War and they started Endgame was perfect in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they ended up doing is at the end of Infinity War, God, I hope you've watched it, because if I have to be like,
Oh
oh,
yeah, of course.
spoilers,
Oh, you mean the people?
the people, yeah.
It's
Because
Infinity War and Endgame. If you haven't seen it, that's
yeah,
your own fault. That's literally your own fault. That is literally. Oh, you haven't seen like. Oh, you haven't seen uh, My Little Mermaid. You haven't breathed. What the fuck is wrong with you? Go
you
ahead
haven't
and
seen
breathe,
Cars.
please, cars.
But
No, go ahead.
that was such a perfect way to end a movie and start a movie,
Mm-hmm.
because the climax of the movie was at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And I did say that that was a weird thing that they did in this movie in um Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
However, it was one of those things that was very the foundation was built in the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and you never really get an opportunity to see Miles lose, if
Right.
that makes sense. Because obviously he was fighting the Spot, and then the Spot went away and went into the different universes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
However, you didn't see him actually lose.
Right.
The climax of the movie is all of the other spider people are chasing after him, and then he just gone,
Right.
disappears into his own universe. And I understand that the plot thickens from there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like we've been spoiled with like really 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 good cliffhanger endings to movies,
Uh huh.
to where
Now, Zach,
I
as an Origaru fan who had to wait 7 years for the third season, I know a lot about cliffhangers, Zach. I'm very
mhm.
aware of cliffhangers. How much do I like them? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Because, in one hand, the third season was awesome. On the
It
other
was.
hand, I had to wait 7 years for it. With no sign that they were still even animating it, or casting, or even voicing, or that the project was even going on, until the same year that it got announced. So, I know about my cliffhangers. Alright? I'm very aware of my cliffhangers. And whether I like it or not, I don't know. I've been waiting 10 years for No Game No Life 2. It's not here yet. So, I'm here with you, Zach. Now then, let's talk. When we talk about Spider-Verse, I agree that the climax was at the end. However, if they're going to break this movie into two, kind of like the way they did Spider-Man Far From Home and Spider-Man No Way Home. Have you seen Far From Home?
I have, yeah.
Okay, cool. I haven't. So, all I saw was Gyllenhaal being Mysterio and doing some fun VFX stuff. But
Gyllenhaal doing Gyllenhaal things.
Gyllenhaal doing Gyllenhaal things. Apparently he's ripped. That's good for him. Um, that's basically all I've seen. So when I went to watch No Way Home, the only thing I knew about the third movie, is that the third movie, right? No, it's the second movie.
Second.
It's the second one, right? Literally the only thing I know is anything that Corridor Digital reacted to. That's all I knew about the second movie. So basically just VFX breakdowns and my understanding of Mysterio, right? Growing up. That's all I know.
If it makes you
Um,
feel any better, that's the only understanding I have of Black Panther.
oh really? Have you seen the second one?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Oh man. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. The second one's really good if you like the first one. Anyways.
I've seen neither of them.
Oh, gotcha. They're good movies. I think they're good standalone movies. Which was gonna be my point. So I agree. In this is one of my strongest beliefs in general because I am not quite a movie buff. I think every movie in a vacuum should stand alone by itself and should be able to, whether
I
they're a
agree.
sequel or not, whether they're part 3 or part 4 or not, you should
Yeah.
be able to watch it. And even if you don't know the context before, if you're able to not need the context and just watch the movie as a movie, I agree that that's what sets a movie from being good or being bad. That's, to my understanding, that's how a movie should be. So Spider-Verse, but I mean, you're not saying that Across the Spider-Verse is bad. So I think it kind of passed in that regard.
I
But
think,
but
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 he said, but
what you are missing without the context, what you're missing is very important because you like the movie, but okay, so let me ask. You can answer completely honest. In a vacuum, did you think this was a good movie?
because I am such a weird anomaly, haha,
Haha.
and I haven't seen the first one,
Sure.
and so
Well, this is a vacuum.
this is a vacuum.
This is a
100%.
vacuum.
No.
No.
On its own, without the context of having watched the first movie, I feel like it was too reliant on having every single person had seen the first one
Mm-hmm.
because I could tell that they were making references to things that happened in the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that was basically making it so that they didn't have to rely on continuing to develop relationships between characters.
Mm-hmm. So that's
So
fair to say because a lot of relationships were built in the first movie. That's why it's fair to say. So I would agree with you on that.
I just because I was not the biggest fan, that does not necessarily mean that you shouldn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at this from the perspective of like, oh, I would not recommend anybody watch this movie. If
Mm-hmm.
you have seen the first one and you have context that I do not have, go watch it because I'm sure you probably had a much better time watching that movie than I did because I didn't have the context and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the background information that you basically had to have to understand a lot of the things that may have made that movie so good.
Right. I agree because I agree with this point specifically because I watched Infinity War and Endgame, and I think those movies are masterpieces. And let's see, I can count the MCU movies I've watched on one hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
for
I
sure.
have not watched a lot of MCU movies. Not that they're bad. I just haven't watched them. I'm not a Marvel buff. I'm not a comic book buff, movie buff in general. You know me. I don't leave my house. I don't watch a lot of movies, and we don't have a lot of subscriptions to Disney Plus or shit like that. So I don't have a chance to watch them. I mean, I have HBO Max, but can't be asked. You know what I mean? Just don't watch a lot of movies. It's not
Who
my
the fuck
thing.
puts anything on HBO Max other
Usually they're
than like
blockbuster
sports?
movies.
Really?
Yeah, usually HBO Max is like because it's HBO. It's usually the big movies. As long as they go to a streaming platform, it'll usually go there, unless it's owned by a different franchise like Disney. So Marvel, all those will go to Disney Plus, right?
Right.
Usually, typically, that's a just a broad, vague statement that I don't know because I don't use the app. So, to my understanding, that's what HBO Max is. But I think Infinity War and
Yeah.
Endgame was literally a masterpiece, and I've never I've watched Spider-Man and Iron Man. I've watched all of those, and well, I watched the Hulk, both of them. There's two, right? Only two. I don't think there was a third one. Wait, was there?
I don't remember.
I just know there was two different. I mean, I watched the OG Hulk when he was when he was a watermelon green, and then I watched the other Hulk when he was broccoli green. And then what else did I watch? I watched Thor. That was pretty good. New one's okay. Uh, I some people might be mad. I've never watched a single Winter Soldier, but but see, that's the thing, right? I've never watched a Winter Soldier. I've never watched Captain America, and Infinity War, the whole Avengers thing. Oh, I watched Avengers. That was the only Captain America I know, right? So
Yeah.
in Captain America, he's like literally, if all the Avengers were not the main character and there were only one or two main characters, it'd be Iron Man and Captain America. Watched all of Iron Man. I watched none of Captain America. I still enjoyed Infinity War and I still enjoyed Endgame. Despite me literally not knowing one of the main characters, one of the main characters, right? And I still enjoyed the movie thoroughly. It's a masterpiece.
See, that is
that's your basis.
Yeah, that's the standard that Marvel had set for themselves.
Right.
And in my
it's definitely important that it's Marvel. Like Marvel set that standard for themselves.
Right.
We're not talking about another movie, sorry.
Yeah. So with that being the expectation, I don't think that they have been able to live up to that expectation other than Spider-Man No Way Home. I think Spider-Man No Way Home was the closest that they've been able to get to the level of storytelling and like all of the stars aligned to an extent that you could watch that movie having never watched any of the other Spider-Man movies or like any of the other, like if you've only seen Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, like I feel like you would be able to get a similar impact out of it.
Out of Spider-Verse?
No, No Way Home.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, I would
Tom
agree.
Holland.
Yeah, I'd agree. Even yeah.
It's hard though. It's hard because
so would you say that because, let's say not even because you watched the first Spider-Verse, you're not a comic person. So would you say that because you're not a comic person, you can't appreciate the fact that it's basically a movie of references? Like it's an Easter egg movie?
I think so, yeah. I think see, it's hard because they layered all of the references, the inside jokes. They layered it on way too thick. Like if you don't know any of these comic book references, then you're just going to be left in the dark. Like there's no explanation to most of it. And that's very similar to how they go about dealing with the interpersonal relationships between the characters. Like they don't really develop any of the relationships other than between Gwen and Miles. But that's kind of obvious because, movie's got a movie.
Yeah.
And
okay, then how about okay, I will, this is a funny one. You watch shows like Bocchi the Rock? Yes, you got to mention Bocchi the Rock. Let's go. That is an anime full of references. That is also an Easter egg anime.
Yeah.
But did you like it?
Very much so.
All right.
I got some of the references, like some of the music references.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's like an anime cultured reference thing. Okay, that sounds really pretentious. I apologize. Even I didn't understand a lot of them. Don't worry. But a lot of them are references from all sorts of anime you've never heard of, anime that are really popular, from music to animation, framing and stuff like that. All of it. It's all references. But Bocchi the Rock was still greatly enjoyable. Even to me, who didn't know a lot of the references, but enjoy anime. Even to Zek, who probably didn't pinpoint a single one of the anime references. But it was great. but Boat to the Rock was still great.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So,
real quick, I want to take a break. I gotta piss my pants.
you gotta
I gotta
pee
piss.
piss.
I gotta
Boy?
pee piss. I drink a lot of coffee. Coffee makes me pee, not necessarily water. Ah!
Sweet home Alabama,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
where the sky is blue.
Blue. Give us a lick. Yeah. Oh.
If I wanted to play something actually like cool sounding, I totally could, but
But
you
you're
were just like,
shackled.
I'm shackled by memes.
Do you know more meme ones? He's gonna do home, isn't he? Yeah, I see the C chord. Yeah. Oh, home. Good old Travis picking. You know, I can't Travis pick anymore. Do you remember Passenger? Remember that song? I can't remember who. Wait, was it by Passenger? It might have been by, I don't remember if Passenger was the name of the song or if it was the band. But, Passenger.
But Passenger.
Never know you love it till you let her go. That one.
Oh,
And you let her go.
yeah.
I played that during the guitar class. You remember that? When we had to do our final and we played the last song, or we had to have a final, and then we had to learn a song ourselves and play it. You remember that?
That
Guitar
lines
class in
up.
middle school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I learned. Yeah, that was fun. You remember what you learned?
Oh shit, I don't know.
You don't know? Was it home?
Probably. No,
You would have
taught
gotten
me that
if
song.
you could have been smart about it, and then just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do home," and then play home, and then got an A.
Because you taught me that song.
I did
okay.
teach you it.
So here's what I remember from that.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
This is a huge fucking sidestep from what we
We're
were just
taking a
talking
break.
about.
We're taking a break. You know, if we were good, we would have taken our break and then had the song like a jingle play, and then go to like a we'll be right. One of those.
Oh yeah.
Like in a radio station, thing, like a radio show. We'll be right back.
After these messages.
What's good? It's DJ Waffle House bringing you back to classics.
This is a huge
sorry, what was
fucking
yours?
sidestep.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
So I remember in our guitar class,
yeah,
you and I would sit next to each other, and you would be teaching me stuff that you learned from your guitar tutor.
Yeah.
Or like from your guitar teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone else would be learning like Smoke on the Water. And it was so fucking funny. It was so funny. I don't even remember how to play that.
It's just power chords. You could probably figure it out. Just walk around the bottom. Yeah, I don't know. But why did we learn power chords in a beginner guitar class in middle school? I don't think we really need.
Idea.
You know what I mean? I think it would have been more beneficial. Not that. Okay, first of all, shout out Mr. Gallagher. Phenomenal person.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was only for that one song, right? I don't think we learned power chords for anything else. So I guess it's fine to just, probably have a sesh for power chords. I mean, it's a whole semester, so I mean, if you're only learning chords, then I guess that'd be kind of boring. I do remember, I wonder if I still have it, the guitar book. I guess it was probably, it's middle school, so it's not a textbook we keep, right? If I remember correctly, that's not how that works. It's a textbook, they give it to us, and then we give it back.
Yeah, unless it was like a workbook, but I don't think it was.
No, I don't think it was, no. It was just a guitar lesson book type of thing. Yeah, and I remember because the reason why I do remember it is because it had all the songs we were learning, but then it would have like an advanced version.
And you would do all those.
I would do all of those. But the advanced version was just like, I don't even remember like if it was one or the other. It was the normal version was just the melody and the advanced version was chords, or the normal version was chords and the advanced version was melody. It was one or the other. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was something
But
like that.
that's so fucking funny though. You taught me home by Philip Phillips, and I'm like, that's gonna be a song that's gonna be in my brain for the rest of my life.
I know. I wonder
Because
if I could play it. I've never tried to play it ever since like middle school. Do you think I could do it?
I think you could do it.
Uh
Are we recording, by the way?
oh
Probably
yeah,
not.
we're recording. No, we're recording.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just C, right? And then you add the no, you add the fourth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it.
I can.
You
Every
can?
once in a while.
Oh, no,
Every
there we
once in a
go.
while.
With the mic right here on my knee. There we go. Oh, it's so loud. Oh, hold on. Wait, didn't you? There we go, because you have to have the G right here. No, you don't have to. No. I think you just do. Oh, wow, you can't. Discord doesn't grab it at all, does it? Oh, do I remember the walk down? Yeah! Alright. And it just... Oh, God.
It goes to A minor.
Does it? No. It just walks down a G. Or
Okay,
does it?
hold up.
Oh, you're right, it does!
Yeah!
Oh, it does. Yeah, right? Yeah.
Yeah!
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. Okay, yeah. I see. After playing so much anime, Zach, I'm so used to just like doing a, because this walks down. It walks down to F, but you played A instead. You know? Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That does make sense. Oh, you know, maybe the mic doesn't grab it because RTX voice. You know?
Oh, yeah, probably.
That would make sense. But I got it because AC is literally right there. It's like it's right. Oh, you can't see it. It's behind the TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyways, here's Wonderwall.
That's so funny.
I don't know what Wonderwall is. I've never tried to learn it. Do you know what it is?
I can't remember. I can noodle for a second.
You know what key it is? Or what's the first chord?
I think it's capoed. I think it's capoed to the second fret, and then it's like a. Hang on.
C? It's Wonderwall. Boom, doom, down, 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 boom, boom, bam, 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 down. Wait, no, that's Sweet Home Alabama. You got that one stuck in my head.
Today is gonna be the day when I want it back to you.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh. No, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Some shit like that.
Something
I don't
like
know.
that. Anyway, here's Bush the Rock. And then you don't hear it. Okay.
Anyway,
Oh,
here's Wonderwall.
My pickup came, a humbucker.
The humbucker for your
Yeah, for my Strat.
Strudacouster?
My Strudacouster. Yeah, I'm planning to mod it.
Okay, so I find this fucking hilarious.
Sure.
Both of us have strats that are not strats. So for
What do you mean?
I just
Oh.
Hold on, do the thing.
Wait, what are you?
I can't fucking hear anything because I just stepped on my cable. And
Oh, yikes. Oh, he can't hear me. He can't hear me.
I can hear.
Zach
I
is.
can hear. You're a fucking asshole. So I also have a Stratocaster that is not a Stratocaster.
Oh. You fucked it up.
Jackson relicked
Nice.
it. Jackson relicked it because
There you
he.
go. Well,
I was.
I actually have like a genuine Fender Strat. So
Is it? I thought it was a Starcaster.
oh wait, maybe you're right.
It's
Ah,
totally a
yeah.
Star.
I guess it is a Starcaster because Fender is. I mean, that's Fender logo on it. Is that not how that works? No, because the Fender Strat is like the model, but then Starcaster is the one that is basically like the one that made it. So like Squire in a sense.
So yeah, I think so. So I think the Stratocaster is more of like the body type.
Right.
Like our guitars literally have the exact same body shape.
Yeah. No, you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Ah. Either way, it needs new strings.
Yeah. Um. Oh yeah, I realized I haven't really talked about this at all.
Sure.
Um.
Oh yeah, the
I have
7 string.
the 7 string, bro. This thing's so fucking nice.
That
I
is
love it.
gnarly. So that was Jackson's originally.
Yeah,
Right.
Jackson. It's
I don't even know
literally
how I would Jackson's Jackson. I don't even know how I would go about playing a 7 string. That doesn't even make any sense in my brain to play as a bass. But then again, I
shred
don't play a
gnar.
lot of. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't play a lot of bass in my time. Sorry, I haven't played a lot of bass in my time. I have done it though. We did it in our music classes or with my music tutors, so I
Yeah.
understand it. I do miss it though. I do want a bass. I thought about getting like not a cheap bass, but like one of those budget basses, which are cheap, because I just
Honestly,
yeah, yeah.
me too. Me too. I'm in the exact same boat.
You
Like
have a
I really
seven
want one.
string now. For what reason do you need to buy a $200 Squire Affinity, whatever the fuck? you know?
Because so you know how a 6 string is tuned in fourths?
Yeah.
So it just adds another fourth on the bottom. So it's not like so it's B
It's not E
E
to G.
A
Oh, it's not. It's
it's
not E to G.
B E A D G B E.
That's
What?
fascinating. Wait, are you sure? I
Yeah.
thought it's not E to G.
No.
No. So it starts at B.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Okay, so now that makes more sense why you'd want a new bass or just a bass that just has
So it's literally
E to G.
it's that an octave down.
Interesting.
I don't even know if you could hear that,
No,
but
I like it. Well, I heard the attempt. I heard like what should have been. You know what I mean? Like I heard what it should have been. So I can imply what it was supposed to be. That makes sense. But I do want to
it
get a
was not.
bass. I do want to get a bass so that way I can do some songy songs. That'd be fun.
Bro, I really want to do some like one-man band type stuff.
Oh,
I
I
think that would be
know.
so
I
fun.
linked you that one man Bochi the Rock because we're talking about Bochi the Rock, right? I linked you that one, right? The one man
Yeah,
Bochi
yeah,
the Rock
yeah.
medley. I love
Mhm.
that medley so much. It's so well done. The fact that I mean, I couldn't spot any cuts, and it's hard. I mean, it's one continuous cut, so if he wanted to try a cut, that would have been very difficult to do. So it did seem like just one whole suite. And
Bro,
oh man,
I don't know
timing that
how
would
the
be
fuck.
so difficult to do.
I mean, even playing to a metronome would be really hard.
Yeah.
Like, God.
So what you would probably have to do, because in my mind, I'm doing a similar thing, but not like live, obviously.
Hmm.
Well, not that he's doing it live because it's only one person. Um, yeah, no, that's definitely not a live track or live pedal, but or a loop pedal, but you know what I mean. You
Hmm.
would have to record them all by themselves, so it'd be like you just drumming to nothing, or you playing and then you play the bass to that drum, and you play the guitar to that guitar, and you sing to that guitar. So in my mind, it would be just like just play like a shitty, just have a shitty MIDI version of it. So just you have like just a really down and dirty MIDI melody of it on the piano or something.
Yeah.
Just to have the melody and then some basic chords. No groove, no nothing at all, just the chords. So that way you have something to drum off of, something to play bass off of. Of which case
Honestly,
then you can play guitar off of those drum and bass.
so the way that I would think about doing it, why does it keep wanting to focus on my socks? Why?
It does
Um,
have a lot of color contrast compared to the rest of the frame.
that's fair. the way that I would probably do it if it was me, I would probably play like the chords first
Hmm.
and then add drums on top of that and
Right.
then bass and whatever. Just because it would be so hard to keep track of when you're trying to track drums, like just
Hmm.
trying to figure out where the tone would change and like
Right.
basically where the hell you're going.
Uh-huh.
That would be super super hard.
So, anyways, would you recommend Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all.
Yeah.
I think that's what all everybody wanted to hear. Then let me ask you this: would you, knowing that you don't necessarily enjoy the second movie in a vacuum, would you watch the first movie?
I feel like I have to now cuz
No, 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 not that you have to. Would you? Like, would you, for your own enjoyment, watch the first movie, not for obligation? Would you watch the 2018 film?
Yeah.
Cool.
I
Because
think
if we're talking about the idea of having that context or the movie in a vacuum, definitely the 2018 movie in a vacuum is it's a phenomenal film. I would
yeah.
say.
Yeah, it's a weird predicament that I find myself in just because I don't want to give off the impression that I'm being an asshole and just being like, "Nah,
Zach, you can
it's
have your opinion.
I know.
You're allowed to have your opinion. You don't need to
What
sound. You're not
opinion?
an asshole. You can just not like something that other people like. You don't have to
So,
like it
okay,
as long as you have your reason. We talked about it for an hour. You stated
that's
why
fair.
you don't like it. You know what people online do? They say I don't
Crucify
like
you.
it. No, 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 no. They say I don't like the movie, and they're never gonna elaborate. They just don't like the movie because other people like the movie.
Right.
Contrarians, right? That's what people do.
Right.
It's just a thing. It's to be different. It's to be quirky. I'm quirky. I don't like this
Ooh,
movie. I don't like this anime. I don't like this game. I don't like
I
this
don't like
artist.
Demon Slayer.
I don't like Demon Slayer. You can not like Demon Slayer if you talk about it for an hour and of why you don't like it.
Right.
You know, if you can sit down and have a conversation as to why you don't like it and not, oh, that shit was ass, you know, this shit was ass. If you have nothing to say other than it was bad, can you elaborate why it was bad? Did you not like, you know, the
Yeah.
story? Why did you not like the story? What was not right? So if you say, I don't like the story, well, what about the story? You know, if you can sit
Right.
down and talk about what you didn't like about the story, and you did that, Zach, for an hour. So I would say that what you having a hot take is fine. There's no such thing as a hot take. I think we call hot take a hot take just for internet clout reasons, but it's just an opinion,
Yeah.
you know.
So, I think what I should do
Hmm.
is I should go and watch the 2018 version or like the
Okay.
2018 Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
right? And potentially do a rewatch of the second movie and then make my like fully like fleshed out like official opinion like this is exactly how I feel even though no one fucking gives a shit. I think
No,
that
that's
that
not true. I give a shit, Zach, because I want to know. I want to know this growth.
so if I still have the same opinion about Across the Spider-Verse after watching the first one, then I feel like everything I said was valid.
I agree
However,
because no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
however, if my
Whoever.
opinion does change, I am willing to accept the fact that I was just in a very interesting, awkward situation where I didn't have context.
I think that you would still be correct in the sense that in a vacuum, it's still not a great movie
Yeah.
because if any, have you watched Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness?
Yes.
Uh,
That movie's a fucking acid trip,
that
bro.
shit. Okay, first of all, as an editor and someone who understands visual effects, that movie is visually stunning. I don't care what anybody says. If that was on someone's portfolio, I'd be like, oh, snipe him so fast into my editing house. I mean, it's a team, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
If homie has that on his portfolio, he's getting sniped so fast, and he's getting paid tippy top dollar. right?
Tippy Toppy with Tippy Top.
Tippy Toppy, Tippy Toppy. Now as a movie, as a
That guy.
movie,
See,
I don't
the
know.
the editor would get paid the Tippy Toppy Sloppy Toppy.
Oh yeah,
However, the story of that movie is just so fucking cattywampus,
yeah. It's
man.
so.
Like,
I think the idea of it was good, right? Like the idea,
right.
the direction, like the whole the motif, like the actual lesson being learned was good. It just
Mm.
didn't work. And for what reason, I don't know. But I'm in an interesting predicament myself, along with you, because I didn't watch the first Doctor Strange. And I don't know if there was a second one, but I didn't watch that either. The only Doctor Strange I know is Avengers.
So, I will say that Doctor Strange's origin story is really, really cool.
Okay, I've
And
heard that as well, yeah.
and as a movie, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, it
The
was
first
one of
movie?
those, the first Doctor Strange, yeah.
Okay.
And even with context, the Multiverse of Madness was just fucking madness. And
It was.
it felt
Maybe that
like
was the
I
point.
was on like a 2-hour DMT trip the entire fucking time we were
Oh,
watching
yeah.
that movie.
That shit was
Uh,
bonkers.
yeah, that whoa, made me feel like I was
Yeah.
watching fucking the SpongeBob movie, Sponge
Oh,
Out of
God.
Water,
Hey,
or
don't
whatever the fuck.
say that. The VFX were way better.
No, not from like a
Yeah, like as a
not from a
story,
VFX.
for story,
Yeah, yeah,
for
just
actual
like
writing.
the cacophonous nature of that movie really gives me that vibe of
Yeah.
just like I have no idea what the fuck's going on. There are so many colors that are just like flooding my retinas and not allowing my brain to
Yeah.
comprehend what's happening.
You just have to turn your brain off. See, no more story.
No more story.
Just watch the
Pretty
the
colors.
the pretty colors and the the VFX budget. Just watch the VFX budget. You know,
Yeah.
because it was
Just
more.
watch
It
the
was more than the
millions
writing
of
budget.
dollars. Just watch the millions of dollars flood your retinas. It's like, oh
Yes.
wow.
Right.
But
But
yeah, I
but
think
the reason why I bring up Doctor Strange, sorry, the reason why I bring that up is because in the
uh-huh.
same way, Spider-Verse, I would agree in that sense that as a standalone in a vacuum movie, it was nothing more than incredible imagery.
I can definitely wholeheartedly agree with
It
that.
was incredible production. The sound was great, the visuals were great, right? The only thing that was lacking definitely was, as you mentioned, and I'm going to agree with you because these are facts. These are facts that you gave. These are not something that you're just, this is not an opinion. This is purely a fact. And it's that they were heavily reliant on the first movie that you watched it.
Yeah.
So in a vacuum, it is definitely not necessarily like a good movie. But as someone who watched Clannad and Clannad After Story, I can appreciate sitting down and watching things in sequence so that way you can have a great experience. Right?
Well, right. And the idea that it's
So
building
that's all.
off of
I'm just waiting for that. That's what I'm curious about now because you've said your thing and I agree with that. In a standalone movie, it's not that great. But now you can't go back to that because you're no longer going to have that as a standalone movie. You can't change that because it's in a
right.
vacuum. You watching the first movie cannot change that opinion of the second of this second movie being in a vacuum because it's in a vacuum. There is no first
Right.
movie. This is a vacuum. So now your opinion is going to change to I've seen the first movie. How is the second movie now with this context? And if it's a good movie
Right.
now, I mean, it's still not necessarily a good movie in a vacuum. But now that you know, but in this perspective, which is my perspective, I thought Across the Spider-Verse was fantastic.
Right. And I mean, if we're really sitting down and thinking about it,
Yeah.
the goal of a sequel is to build off of the story of the first movie. Like,
Uh-huh.
if we're being real here,
Yes,
uh,
yes. If you stopped and if you just watched Demon Slayer season 3, oh, you're gonna be so confused if you never watched 1 and 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
So there's always gonna be that.
right. And so I think we've been putting this movie through the ringer and kind of looking at it with a magnifying glass.
But you
Um,
should though.
Right.
It's
And
a
and
movie of
I'm
that
not
caliber, so it's fair to
right.
overanalyze.
Right. And I agree that it should be given that level of scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't necessarily think that it's one of those movies that needs to be like insane to be good. You know, like there are certain movies where it's like the bar has been set to a certain level to the point where like okay, you know, it's a Marvel Avengers movie, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously they're going to fucking go hard.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit different because they are able to kind of take what they did with the first Spider-Verse movie
Mm-hmm.
and just build and improve off of that and
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily since this is like it really is uncharted territory when it comes to comic book movies, like
Oh
the
yeah,
the
definitely.
animation, the way that they really leaned into the idea like yeah, this is a comic book movie,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
It's
that
very
that idea.
stylized.
Right, exactly. So the only thing that you can compare it to is itself
Mm-hmm.
and the movies that are preceding it and afterwards.
I agree.
So
I will.
it
Okay,
it
then how about? Oh, so it. We're not going any longer, but you know, you mentioned Avengers. Every single thing has to be A tier, right? Every single one of those Avengers has to be A tier. But what about Age of Ultron?
I loved Age of Ultron.
You liked it.
I
I
loved it.
thought it was. Interestingly enough, it fits in that coveted area that you see, for me at least, that you see Spider Verse, the second movie. This is purely a context movie for the following film, which that is kind of what Age of Ultron was. I'm not gonna say it's a bad
Yeah.
movie because I loved all the Avengers. I mean, I only watched a few Marvel movies on my hand that I deemed worthy. Oh, Black Panther was the fifth one. That's what I was looking for. Um,
That's
but
funny.
as far as like Age of Ultron goes, for the other ones, you know, Civil War, the first Avengers, right? And then, of course, Infinity War and Endgame. Age of Ultron, for me, is purely context. Because it's about the, you know, the first, the Infinity, not Infinity, yeah, Infinity Stone. The one that they have, that they give to Dude Bro Man, that flies.
Yeah. Vision. The Vision
Mm-hmm.
guy that has vision.
Yeah, so that way when he gets, you know, clobbered and Thanos takes it,
When he
you
gets
know,
controlled alt deleted.
yeah,
Yeah.
you have that context to understand, oh, this is bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that entire movie for me was for that moment.
I think I think that there was more to that, honestly. Uh and I mean I can definitely see I can definitely see why you have that opinion.
Hmm.
And it's respectable, you know, and with like I was saying earlier, if you're comparing Age of Ultron to the other movies that were surrounding it,
Hmm.
you know, like Captain America Civil War, the first Avengers movie, Captain America the First Avenger, all of the Iron Man movies,
Are
the
those
Thor
technically Captain
movies,
America? I guess so, huh?
Captain America Civil War, yeah,
I guess so. Okay, so I have seen a technically Winter Soldier.
technically.
I just call when I know when Winter Soldier is technically. Okay, anyways.
Anywho,
Anywho.
but it does deserve that level of scrutiny, right?
Hmm.
And you know, you're only comparing it to something that is in its same weight class, which is its own movies. And
Yes.
so I can definitely agree that compared to all of the other Avengers movies that preceded it and came after it,
Hmm.
that one was kind of the one that was lower on everyone's list
Hmm.
than everything else. So, yeah, I think I know that we're definitely sounding like movie critics right now, but
I
it
want to say
it
I'm not a movie critic.
I'm not
Everybody
either.
knows I don't watch enough movies to do that.
I mean, I'm just a movie enjoyer, man.
Yes,
Like,
I am a guy who, if I get asked, I'll say, yeah, let's go to the theater. But if not, you wouldn't see me in the theater.
Right. Yeah.
But
I mean,
maybe I shouldn't say that as I'm getting into film.
yeah.
I shot myself in the toe.
You shot yourself in the big toe. Now
I
you're
shot
walking
myself
around
in the
circles.
big toe. Yep. And I was like, oh, he wants to be a film editor and director or whatever. He doesn't see any movies. Well, screw you. I turned on the music, by the way. I think we're gonna end it there. Thank you for this long talk, Zach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
It's fun when we disagree. I'm gonna say that now.
I think so too, because you and I are able to look at it from the perspective of like, I'm not trying to prove
Step
you
on your
wrong,
turf.
or no, not even that. I'm not even trying to convince you that you are wrong and I'm right or anything like that. It's just bringing ideas to the table. We can disagree, and that's totally fine.
So you mean having a civilized conversation without yelling and screaming at each other like children is a good thing? And a plausible thing?
Fucking shocker.
That's crazy.
Right.
Well, next time I'll definitely raise my gain here and then scream at you.
But yeah.
And next time, I hope you guys I hope you guys join us for the next episode. You know what? I want to bring. When do you think you'll watch Spider-Verse? I'm not putting this on your to-do list. I'm just curious. When do you think you'll watch the first one? Because I'm curious. I do want to bring Christian on. I'd like to see if we can talk about it.
So I have a 5-day weekend from work because I'm switching to the back half of the week.
Right.
So I would like to have watched it before, or right around the time this episode comes out.
Sure.
So hopefully by the time we reconvene, I'll have watched it.
Okay.
And if
cool.
we get Christian on, then I definitely will try to make sure that I do that. 100%.
Okay, cool. If we do get Christian on, you definitely gotta. You're doing it better than me. You're keepity caught up with Kimetsu no Yaiba, Normie Slayer.
Fuck yeah.
All right, cool. Then we can talk about that. That'd be great. But if you're interested in that, stick around. Kristen Shaw is a great guest to have around. And yeah, I'll see you guys the next one.
So long.